Hi comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. Today it is one in my series of The Comic Detective, in which I take a look at usually Alan Class comics, because Alan Class comics are great fun to unpick and work out where the stories have come from, especially when we get some great issues which contain reprints of Marvel comics. So I picked this one up a week or so ago off eBay. It cost me about £15. It's getting a bit pricey to pick up these Alan Class comics, especially those which have got Marvel reprints on the cover. Now this one I had not seen before, and I looked at it and I thought, who's that cover by? Initially, I thought it was Steranko because of the sort of 60s swirly stuff. But then I sort of looked at the guy down in this bottom right-hand corner and I thought, is this Kirby? But then, no, I saw this name here, Smith. Well, the only Smith I know about, or could think was called Smith, was Barry Windsor Smith. And indeed, this is in fact a very early cover by Barry Windsor Smith. I've cleaned it up a bit here. And I also found the original where this came from. It comes from Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 12. From 1969. Now this is really interesting. So I did a bit of research because this is clearly very early work from Barry Windsor Smith. He was only 20 when he did this cover. So I did a bit of checking up. He actually had sent some stuff in to Marvel from the UK. He's a UK guy. He was born in the UK. Barry Windsor Smith, and he sent some stuff into the Marvel offices, and Stan Lee liked it, presumably because of some similarity with Jack Kirby, and you can see that in this. And then, when they were very young, Barry Smith, as he was then, and his mate Steve Parkhouse actually flew out to New York, and did some early work for Marvel before returning back to the UK. And this was one of the early pieces that Barry Smith and Steve Parkhouse, who did the writing, did, and it was inked by Barry Smith, and writer was Steve Parkhouse, editor Stan Lee. So there we go. Let's just take a look at here. We've got a picture, not a great picture, but it's a picture of a young looking Barry Windsor Smith. I think he's probably a bit older than 20 there, but there he is, and I've got a picture of him looking a bit grimmer and a bit older. Yeah, so there's the great Barry Windsor Smith, of course best known for his long run on Conan the Barbarian, with Roy Thomas doing the story and Barry Windsor Smith doing the artwork. He had returned, I think, to the UK when he was doing that, and he was sending it in across to the States. So let's just take a look at the this is the front page. Of course, these Alan Class comics inside are black and white. You can see down here, published by Alan Class and Co Limited. No date on it. But this is a shilling copy. So this is pre-71. So this is not going to have been... The original, I think, was 69. So this Alan Class reprint, probably 1970. So fairly soon after the original came out. And I don't think these two young lads did too bad a job on this comic. Here's just a page from the story. Agent U reporting to Supreme HQ. The operation is going ahead as planned. Shield's best agents are tracking down Fury now with orders to bring him in alive. You've done well, Agent U. Your mission is almost over. So, you know, we've got Hydra here. And here, this is I just put sort of got these panels out here because this definitely looks Kirby-like to me. There's definitely some Kirby influence here. But one of the really interesting things is when I blew this up, here we've got some sort of, no idea what's going on here. What is this little sort of character doing here with a sword, killing some sort of creature? I mean, that is really weird. Is this an early prototype Barry Windsor Smith Conan? Don't know. Anybody know what the hell this is? Who's read this comic? It is most peculiar. Whether Barry's just put that in there as a MacGuffin or something, I don't know. Anyway, really interesting to look at this early work from Barry Windsor Smith. You know, he himself says it was very crude, and he's not particularly proud of this early work. And you know, compared to his later work, it is a bit basic. Right, but as usual with Alan Class, we don't just get one story, we get a number of stories. And also in this comic is a fantastic, you know, we've just seen an artist at the beginning of their career, and now we see an artist, a well-established artist here. It is, of course, Steve Ditko, with a fabulous little story which I've read 2 or 3 times over the years, called The Little Things. It's a classic sort of time travel story where these guys have invented a time machine. They send off this sort of hero and tell him, whatever you do, don't get out of the time bomb, don't get out of this thing, because that's something you may do, may cause the future to change. Yeah. And of course, he doesn't obey instructions. Here we got this fantastic Steve Ditko panel here, depicting time travel. It really is a fantastic story. You know, seek it out. The artwork by Ditko is great. It's a great little story. Of course, he meddles about, and of course, the future gets changed. And this story comes from here. It's a Charlton comic, Out of This World. There we go, a Charlton publication, a 10-center. And you can see we've got the featuring The Little Things is actually the cover story here, and it's a sort of a combination of the different panels on that page that I showed you from the Alan Class comic. So really great here. You know, we've got Steve Ditko, we've got early Barry Windsor Smith. Also, we've got a guy called, and this guy appears here. The artist here is an artist called Ogden Whitney. There's quite a lot of Ogden Whitney in Alan Class. He did quite a lot of work on early sort of adventure, horror, science movies. I probably will do a special on Ogden Whitney because he's quite an interesting character. Yeah, so this story here is called Magic, There Is No Such Thing. It's not my favourite story in this comic, but I did manage to find out where it came from. It comes from here. It comes from, it's American Comics Group, ACG, the American Comics Group, and is Adventures into the Unknown. And here you go, stand by for the sure shivers and gasps, guaranteed in Magic, There's No Such Thing. Okay, so there we go. That's where the original of that can be found. So as usual, a very sort of eclectic group of stories here in amazing stories of this Suspense number 103. And then we've got, you can see down here, it's Giordino. I think that's Dick Giordino. And we've got a story called Last Seen Entering an Elevator, where this sort of escaped convict here gets into an elevator, and you know, there's usual twists and turns in these sort of stories. I'll leave you to find it and read the story. I think it's inside here. It's not on the cover. It's in Strange Suspense Stories number 31. Yeah, a Charlton publication, which, you know, go and seek this one out. It's also got Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, The Man Who Could Never Be Killed. I'm sure these are in Alan Class Comics somewhere. Maybe I'll find them on another comic detective. So there we go. That is my comic detecting on Amazing Stories of Suspense 103 from Alan Class. Hope you've enjoyed that. That's your lot. See ya again soon.